Welcome to the Neuro Air Podcast, the show for cycle breakers, parents, young adults, and helping professionals ready to understand their nervous system through a generational lens, heal what isn't theirs to carry, and consciously choose what comes next. Hi, I'm your host, Leanna Hunt, an associate clinical mental health counselor and certified performance coach. Each week, you'll get stories, science, and somatic practices, plus my signature 4N framework: notice, name, nurture, and navigate, to help you honor resilience, break silence, and build deeper connection with yourself and those you love, all while shaping a legacy of safety, freedom, and possibility. Welcome back to the Neuro Air Podcast. Have you ever caught yourself reacting in a way that just doesn't quite make sense? Maybe snapping at someone you love when you didn't mean to, or shutting down mid-conversation. Or maybe saying yes when every part of you was screaming inside to just say no. We have all been there in some capacity. But what most of us don't realize is that these reactions aren't some sort of flaws in our personality, but that they are actually part of our body's built-in safety system. They're automatic patterns your nervous system learned to protect you, often long before you even knew what was happening. At one time, those reactions probably did keep you safe. But now they can feel less like choices and more like reflexes that leave you wondering, why did I even do that? If you were able to listen to the last episode, you might remember the 1-minute grounding practice, a simple way to help your body come back into safety. That practice helps you find your window of tolerance, the zone where your brain and body can stay calm, connected, and flexible. I'm hoping you have practiced it by now. And if not, remember, there's a link to get a copy of it for yourself in the show notes of episode 3. Today, we're taking that one step further. We're going to map what happens when your nervous system senses danger and moves outside the window. These are the 4 survival responses you've heard me already mention: fight, flight, freeze, and appease. I'm hoping by the end of this episode, you'll understand how these patterns show up in everyday life, how they also might have been shaped by generations before you, and what it actually means to come home to your body's sense of safety. As I've said before, your nervous system is your body's communication network. It's constantly scanning for one main thing. Am I safe? And that question isn't just about physical danger. It's about a felt sense of safety, the body's inner knowing that it's okay to relax, to connect, and be present. Psychologist Dr. Stephen Porges, whose research focuses on behavioral neuroscience, he calls this process neuroception, which is your body's subconscious way of detecting cues or safety or threat long before your thinking brain gets involved. Your system is always reading the room. It's reading tone of voices, facial expressions, postures, and even energy. And it's constantly asking, is it safe to be here? When your body senses safety, it sends signals through the vagus nerve that allow you to settle, to connect, and stay engaged. But when it senses danger, whether that danger is real or remembered, it automatically mobilizes for protection. When you're within your window of tolerance, your body feels grounded and flexible. You can think, feel, and connect all at once. But when stress, trauma, or even uncomfortable conversation pushes you outside that window, your body does what it was designed to do. It protects you. Your amygdala, the emotional alarm center, detects threat and sends signals through the vagus nerve, mobilizing your body for survival. Meanwhile, your prefrontal cortex, which is right here, that logical part of the brain that I mentioned last time, that's the part that helps you stay calm, think clearly, and respond thoughtfully. That part, if the brain senses threat, temporarily goes offline. And here's the good news. This felt sense of safety is what allows your brain and body to work together again. When you experience safety through things such as breath, connection, or grounding practices, your nervous system can naturally move back into that window of tolerance. And this is where I truly believe that healing actually happens. It's about reminding your body that it's safe to be in the here and now. Calm isn't something we can force. Fight, flight, freeze, and appease, you guys, these are not bad states. They're ancient and have kept our species alive for thousands of years. The challenge is that for many of us, though, our bodies are reacting to emotional danger, not physical threat. Instead of releasing the energy and returning to calm, our systems get stuck on autopilot. This is like a car engine that's idling too high for too long, or like a smoke alarm going off without a fire. My most favorite YouTube video, and the one I've watched the most, I show it to all of my clients. It's of an Impala completely immobile in the mouth of a cheetah. It looks lifeless because it's totally still. The cheetah leaves the Impala there when it senses an approaching hyena, and for a few minutes, the Impala just lies there, still looking completely dead. Then the most fascinating thing happens. Before it even blinks its eyes, the Impala begins to take slow, deep belly breaths. After a few of those, its body starts to tremble and shake all over. It's pretty crazy to watch the first time. Most of my clients are shocked and have no idea what it's doing. A few minutes later, after intense shaking, it stands up and runs away. That shaking is the body completing the stress cycle, literally releasing the stored survival energy so the system can reset and get up and move on. If it did not do this, it would stay immobilized. Our human species regularly interrupts this process. We suppress emotions, we minimize them, and try to move on too fast. Over time, the body starts to carry what was never released. Remember, you can watch that video in the show notes. Anything I mentioned like that will always be down below. It's a powerful reminder of how our bodies were designed to recover. But when that recovery gets interrupted, the body doesn't stop trying to protect us. It just changes how it shows up. The energy that was meant to move through us starts living in us. And ultimately, it can shape our reactions and our relationships. These stored protection patterns are what we call the four survival states. Again, as we mentioned, the fight, flight, freeze, and appease. And I want to take a few minutes now just to briefly go into each one a little bit more. Okay, so number one is fight. Fight energy shows up as anger, irritation, control, or complete defensiveness. This is just the body's way of trying to say, hey, I'm ready to defend myself. Maybe you grew up in a home where the loudest person was the safest one. Arguments meant someone cared, and silence meant danger. Power and anger were how people kept control because control felt like safety. So now, even a small disagreement can make your body gear up for battle. Maybe your voice gets really tight and your throat feels like it's closing in, or your shoulders tense, or you clench your fists, or both. Maybe you try to make your point before someone else takes the floor. And this isn't because you're mean or a reactive person. It's because somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that strength keeps you safe. Number two is flight, the one I know all too well. Flight energy feels like restlessness or anxiety. It's that urge to stay busy, to fix things, or to keep moving so you don't have to feel what's happening. It's the body's way of saying, if I move fast enough, maybe I stay safe. Maybe your parents never stopped working because slowing down meant falling apart or having to actually sit and face your feelings. Or maybe you learned early that being good or productive was how you earned love. So now stillness is what feels like a threat. You continually check your phone, you multitask, and maybe you're like how I used to be, cleaning the kitchen at 10 p.m. because sitting still feels impossible. This is also what happens when generations have equated busyness with safety. The nervous system keeps running, even when you know deep down that desperately all you need is to rest. Number three is freeze. Freeze feels like shutting down, spacing out, or maybe going numb. This is the body's way of saying, hey, this is all too much. I cannot actually feel this right now. Maybe you grew up in a home where everyone pretended things were fine when they weren't, where crying made people uncomfortable or emotions were quietly swept under the rug. Freeze became the safest way to survive what you couldn't change. So now when conflict or pain shows up, you go quiet. Your mind goes blank. Maybe you stare at the wall or even feel like you've left your body. This is your body's way of trying to protect you from overwhelm, just like it has before. And number four, appease. Appease, also known as fawning, looks like people pleasing or shrinking yourself to keep everyone else okay. This is the body's way of saying, if I keep everyone calm, maybe I can stay safe. Maybe you had to be the peacemaker in your family because you were the only one that could smooth things over. Maybe you had to be the one to read everyone's moods, or maybe you're the one that had to make jokes to break the tension. You learned that connection came through keeping others comfortable, not through being honest. So now you say yes when you mean to say no. You hold your breath when someone's upset. You scan the room to make sure everyone's okay before you ever check in with yourself. You guys, these are all survival strategies that actually kept you connected to people you loved, and maybe they still do. But when you can start to see them as your body's way of staying safe, you might also begin to notice how far back they go, sometimes generations back, because here's the thing. These patterns most likely didn't begin with you. For most of our ancestors, survival looked completely different than it does now. Life demanded constant work just to eat, to stay warm, and to make it through another season. When families immigrated or lived through war, loss, or poverty, those fight, flight, freeze, and appease responses weren't some sort of dysfunction. They were actually life-saving. So what you're feeling in your body today might actually be an echo of what helped them make it through. I'm going to tell you a story that I made up that is something I like to share with my clients. It's like safety in real life, as I like to call it. I want you to think about something as simple as a couple arguing about laundry. It's all over. There's clothes in the washer and the dryer. It's just a mess and no one has clean clothes. One partner feels unseen and slips into fight mode, feeling completely frustrated, starting to get sharp with their tone and super defensive. And the other partner feels the tension rise and moves quickly into freeze, gets super quiet, withdraws, and is imagining themselves not even being in the room while their partner is yelling. Here's the thing about this. This actually is nothing about laundry. This is about two nervous systems trying to feel safe in the only ways that they know how. Those reactions often come from what they learned. They were modeled and then repeated to become what was known as safety. Maybe one partner grew up in a home where anger meant control, and the other partner learned that silence is what kept things calm. When we just start to notice these deeper layers, compassion can begin to release shame, and that is what I love the most. And this is where healing really starts. When we can see ourselves and each other not as broken, but as bodies ultimately just trying to find safety. I want to invite you right now, wherever you are, to pause what you're doing and check into your current state with me. I want you all to just take one slow, deep belly breath in through your nose, hold it at the top for a moment, and then a long, slow exhale out your nose or your mouth. Notice what feels familiar right now in your own body. Even if you think you're calm, is it possible that there's an undercurrent of fight or a tension that is generally there? Maybe flight, checking in for your exits, or just not feeling settled in your body? What about freeze? Just a feeling of wanting to hide or shut down or pretend you aren't where you are. Or maybe people pleasing, feeling like it's just not okay to be you because you always have to assess the needs of others. Remember that there is no judgment here. Every single one of these states has kept you safe in some way. It's protected you. It's helped you get through whatever you needed to when you took on that state in the first place. And usually it is something you learn because of what safety looked like for you growing up, based on your parents or caregivers, based on their own nervous systems and what was modeled for them. Awareness is always the first step towards expanding your own window of tolerance and towards helping your system learn that safety doesn't have to mean control, complete collapse, or appeasement. This is where my 4N framework comes in. The first is to notice. Just notice what's happening in your own body. Really just take a minute or two to notice it. It's so powerful when we can just start to connect into our own body sensations. Next is name the state you're in. Practice using words to put to what you notice. Remember, this also helps engage that logical part of the brain, your prefrontal cortex. Third is nurture. Nurture the part of you that's trying to protect you. What is it you actually need right now? Oftentimes what you need now is something you needed a really long time ago, but with the power of your mind and your own presence, you can still do that now. In most of my clients, I see that what we actually need now is just to be able to say to ourselves, hey, I'm good enough in the moment, where we can give ourselves love and where we can now, through visualization and the power of our mind, because you guys, your mind is so powerful, to feel a sense of safety now, especially when we didn't have it then. And fourth is to navigate your way back to connection. What is the actual next step? Think baby steps, small stepping stones, not big leaps. Over time, these small acts of awareness expand your window of tolerance and help you rewire your nervous system for safety. If today's episode resonated, please download the free mini Neuro Air Survival Response Map linked below. It's a guide to help you notice where you are and how to come back to center. You can also watch the Impala stress cycle video in the show notes for a powerful visual of how the body releases survival energy naturally. And if you haven't yet, please take a minute and follow and review the Neuro Air podcast. Your reviews help others find this work. And I love getting your messages. So remember, my Instagram is Aligning with Leanna. Feel free to send me a message. I would love to know what has stood out to you on this episode or on any of the episodes that you've listened to so far. You can also ask questions. What is it that you want to learn about? Maybe you want to share your own brief personal experience with me, and I can help take that in a confidential way and weave that into my episodes. In a way, it's just answering your own questions through this work. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time. Bye, guys.